Violet, who had been single for many years, encountered something strange on her very first date. After entering this rooftop observation restaurant, her phone immediately received several anonymous messages. They all read, "Open it, or face the consequences." Seeing this, Violet quickly told her date, Henry. These were not ordinary text messages, but sent through her phone's built-in AirDrop feature. It allows fast and secure message and file transfers between devices. However, this function only works within a 20-meter range, which means the mysterious sender must be inside the restaurant. Hearing this, Violet instantly became nervous and looked around. Henry also began helping her analyze the situation. After all, most people dining here were elite professionals, and none of them looked like pranksters. The only possible suspects were a noisy group of young people at one table, just when they thought they had found a lead. Violet received another message with her name on it. After seeing it, Henry quickly comforted her and told her not to worry, because anyone who turns on AirDrop can clearly see the avatars and names of nearby users. Seeing how nervous Violet was, Henry decided to personally check the restaurant, but after searching around, he found nothing suspicious, unless the sender was hiding in the kitchen. While they were still analyzing, the waiter Matt walked over, but just as he was introducing the dishes, Violet received another message. This time, she finally couldn't resist opening it. It told her to check her home security cameras. Curious, Violet opened the app and searched. Soon she saw a gunman arrogantly waving at her. The image instantly made her turn pale, because her son Toby was at home at that moment, and to go on this date, Violet had asked her sister Jen to babysit him. She finally realized this was not a prank. Violet nervously opened the next message. She could only suppress her urge to cry for help. Pretending she felt unwell, she walked toward the restroom while secretly calling the police. But the next second, the mysterious person sent another message. They threatened that if Violet called the police or told anyone about this, they would immediately kill her son Toby. Lost in her thoughts, she accidentally bumped into a passerby.
Hey, you okay?
The person noticed something was wrong with her, but Violet still dared not ask for help, and could only hide in the restroom. Helpless, she checked her family's safety footage again. At that moment, voices outside the door gave her a glimmer of hope, but just as she ran out to ask the girls for help, another message arrived telling her not to move. Violet instantly realized the women's restroom might also be under surveillance. She quickly borrowed an eyeliner pencil and tried to silently write a distress message on her hand, but the tip was too soft, and she couldn't write clearly. Thinking Violet was unstable, the girls quickly left. Violet began searching the restroom. Soon she found a listening device behind a flower vase. At this moment, another woman entered the restroom, but this time, Violet didn't ask for help. She believed the restroom was bugged, and the mysterious person was likely a woman. Violet could only return to her seat for now. Henry also noticed she seemed distracted. She forced a calm smile to hide it. She said she was worried because Toby had never slept alone at home. This time, through careful observation, Violet quickly found another listening device on the lampshade. She didn't understand why the mysterious person was doing this, and asked who they really were. The person directly replied they were a waiter, but then immediately sent another message, claiming they were the woman in pink in the distance. Only then did Violet realize she was being played. At this moment, Henry spoke and pulled her back to reality. He noticed Violet kept looking around. Violet suddenly came up with a plan. She lied and said she was afraid of heights and couldn't concentrate. Hearing this, Henry quickly called waiter Matt and asked to change tables, but this move was immediately met with a threat. The mysterious person said if they changed seats, Toby would die instantly. With no choice, Violet had to ask to switch back. She lied and said she preferred their original seat. The strange behavior left both of them confused. At this moment, Violet kept scanning the locations of the restaurant cameras. After returning to her seat, she quickly messaged again while ordering. This time, the person finally revealed their purpose. They wanted the memory card from Henry's camera. This also proved the sender was definitely not waiter Matt. After thinking it over, Violet decided to obey for now. She quietly removed her watch and put it into her bag. Then she pretended she had lost it. She clearly remembered wearing it when she entered. She asked Henry to check the front desk to see if someone had found it. After confirming he left, Violet quickly stood up and opened her bag. She took up the camera and frantically searched through it. Inside were not only photos of the mayor, but also large amounts of corruption evidence. Although Violet realized Henry might be a good person, she had no choice. She quickly took the memory card, then she restored everything. Before Henry returned, soon the mysterious person messaged her and told her to go to the restroom immediately. Violet lied and said she probably took off her watch while washing her hands. Then she quickly went to the restroom, following instructions. She smashed the memory card with a flower pot. Then she flushed the fragments down the toilet. But after finishing, the mysterious person said her task wasn't over. They told her to open the tissue box on the wall. Soon Violet felt a bottle inside. It was poison. Her task was to make Henry drink it. As Violet walked out in a daze, the manager's voice interrupted her thoughts. He asked whether she had found her watch. Seeing the cordless phone in his hand, Violet immediately came up with another plan. She quickly followed him out. As she left the restaurant, the airdrop contacts gradually decreased. Soon they arrived at the front desk. After the manager walked away with a customer, Violet quickly grabbed the phone to call the police. But before it connected, the signal was cut off. She instantly realized the mysterious person was using a signal jammer. Violet immediately tried using a computer to call for help. But at that moment, another message warned her not to do anything stupid. Only then did she notice there was a camera right behind her. Just as Violet starts to feel discouraged, she quickly checks the security feed and soon notices a man constantly holding his phone. He has been lingering near the entrance the entire time. Violet suddenly remembers that she also bumped into him earlier at the doorway. Feeling like she has found her suspect, she immediately walks over to confront him. However, Connor explains that he is simply waiting for a friend. His flawless explanation makes Violet's suspicions begin to waver, but the moment he turns away, the mysterious person sends another message. Violet then looks up and sees Connor picking up his phone again. As she wonders whether he is the mysterious sender, she notices that Henry has already paid the bill. It turns out her earlier behavior made him think Violet was flirting with someone else. Henry believes Violet is dissatisfied with him, so he decides to end the date. This puts Violet in an impossible dilemma. She wants Henry to leave quickly to avoid danger, but that would put Toby at risk. In the end, Violet suddenly steps forward and kisses Henry. Her action is meant to make him stay. Touched by the gesture, Henry finally decides to remain. At the same time, a woman nearby storms off angrily, clearly ending her own date on bad terms. It turns out that when Violet first arrived at the restaurant, Richard, who was also on a first date, mistakenly thought she was his date. The two even shared some dating experiences at the time, but Violet refuses to give up. Hearing music suddenly start playing in the distance, a new rescue plan forms in her mind. She quickly takes out her lipstick and pretends to fix her makeup. Then she pulls out a bill from her purse and secretly writes a distress message on it. She asks the waiter, Matt, to give it to the pianist as a tip, but Matt casually tosses the money into the tip jar. Fortunately, after finishing his performance, the pianist does not forget. He soon notices the message Violet left. He looks over in mild surprise, seeing the desperation on Violet's face. The pianist understands but does not draw attention. When no one is watching, he quietly makes a phone call. However, after that, he gives Violet no response and slowly walks back to prepare for the next performance. Violet is unsure whether he saw the message at all, so she can only wait anxiously. Soon, Matt serves the remaining dishes, but Violet is horrified to discover that the same distress note is placed under her plate. Immediately, the mysterious person warns her she will be punished for her actions. Before Violet can react, she sees the pianist stand up in a daze. After just a few steps, he suddenly collapses to the floor. Violet instantly realizes he has been poisoned. Thinking of something, she quickly checks the security feed. She sees the killer knock her sister Jen to the ground. Her son Toby is also violently captured. Fortunately, they are only locked back in the room and not harmed further. In despair, Violet finally gives up resisting and decides to carry out the task. She pretends she wants a drink and quickly walks to the bar. In her panic, she accidentally drops her bag. Henry immediately notices the watch that falls out. Unaware of everything, Violet is still ordering drinks. The bartender, Kara, can tell something is wrong with her. Soon, Violet returns with 2 glasses of wine, but when Henry hands her the watch, she freezes. Violet can only lie and say she was careless and didn't notice. When Henry goes to the restroom, She secretly adds poison to his drink. Everything is captured by the cameras. The mysterious person immediately praises her for it. Violet turns her head and notices Connor is once again texting on his phone. At that moment, Henry returns. Just as he is about to drink the poisoned wine, Violet suddenly hesitates again. She pretends to accidentally knock over the glass, stopping everything. Henry, soaked in wine, does not think much of it and heads to the restroom to clean up. Violet takes the chance to expose Connor, but his friend suddenly arrives for real. Only then does she realize she was wrong about him. While she is still thinking, Kara approaches her and says she knows what is going on. Kara explains she noticed Violet looking nervous all night and thought she was worried Henry might have bad intentions. She offers to take Violet away immediately if she feels unsafe. Violet quickly denies it and says it's her own issue. Kara comforts her and tells her not to feel insecure. She points out that Richard behind her has been staring all night. Hearing this, Violet suddenly realizes something. If Richard had been texting throughout his date, then the woman who stormed off earlier must have been his date. With this in mind, Violet picks up the poisoned drink and warmly offers him a glass. Richard immediately calls her by name and refuses with excuses, but Violet has never told Richard her name. Richard's expression finally turns dark.
Sit.
With no choice, Violet sits down. Even if she exposes him, nothing will change. Richard explains this area is the restaurant's only blind spot. Airdrop cannot trace the sender, so he knows he is safe. He admits he chose her to kill Henry because he needed a random person to remove suspicion from the mayor. Violet's identity fits perfectly. Richard also says, if she had not tried anything foolish, the pianist would not have had to die. He reveals he was sitting right beside the pianist. He messaged him saying he would die if he called the police. Richard says he will not spare anyone who knows the plan, including Violet, who was caught poisoning the drink. In the end, she will become the scapegoat and be arrested. However, Richard promises to spare Toby as long as she completes the plan. Just then, Henry walks over, completely unaware. Henry stares at Richard with hostility. Violet quickly steps in to smooth things over and raises the poisoned drink to ease the tension. Under Richard's watchful eyes, she sees Henry drink it down. After Henry leaves, Richard keeps his promise and tells the killer to withdraw. He mockingly comforts Violet not to be sad, but Violet suddenly starts smiling. Richard then begins to feel dizzy. It turns out the liquid Violet poured earlier was just lemon juice. The real poison was secretly added to Richard's food while he was watching Henry. Enraged, Richard pulls out a gun. Panicked customers scatter in all directions. The restaurant erupts into chaos, but Richard stares only at Violet, swearing to take her down with him. Kara rushes to help but is badly injured. Violet tries to grab the gun but fails. Richard starts having trouble breathing. He pulls out his phone again and orders the killer to resume the mission. He wants Violet's family to die with her. The next second, the glass explodes. Powerful winds suck them toward the window. Violet manages to grab the curtain, but Richard is not so lucky. Violet is also in grave danger. Just as the curtain is about to give way, Henry arrives in time.
Put pressure on it.
But Violet has no time to wait for help. She rushes home at full speed. The killer has already returned and begun the attack. Her sister Jen is instantly knocked down. Toby, hiding under the bed, is also captured. Before the killer can confirm anything, he hears Violet arrive home. He raises his gun and goes downstairs. Violet still cannot defeat him, just as the killer prepares to strike. A toy car drags a fallen gun across the floor. Violet grabs it without hesitation. Toby runs over safely, holding a remote control. Jen, wounded in the shoulder, comes downstairs as well. Violet finally breathes a sigh of relief. Soon, the exposed mayor is arrested. At last, Violet and Henry can enjoy a real date. After everything they have been through, they are sure to become a couple soon. Never again fearing loneliness.
Hey, Henry?
Hey.